Hey, this is Al from UserActive, and today I want to talk about website performance. First of all, why website performance is important, what you can do to check your website performance, and how to see what the issues are coming up on the performance reports and how to start fixing them. So why is website performance important? First of all, it goes back to usability. Your users, the people that visit your website, they don't really, and I don't think anybody has the patience to wait 30 seconds for a website to load. It's not 1995 anymore. Everybody's got high-speed internet, so they're expecting web pages to load quickly. So performance is an issue because if somebody is waiting for a long time, they're going to lose patience and they're going to hit the back button or they're going to go somewhere else. So it turns out that people are usually on average willing to wait up to 8 seconds. I'd say it's probably a lot less than that, somewhere between 3 to 4 seconds. If you don't see something happening on the web page and a fair amount of information coming up, then you probably think it's broken and you hit the back button or you go somewhere else. So that's on one end as far as why it's important to have a fast loading website. Also because of SEO and for Google search engine optimization purposes. Because Google's actual customers, besides being the people that they sell ads to, are the people that use their search engine. And they don't want to have a bad user experience for the people that use their search engine. So imagine you're searching for a particular phrase and you see the search engine results page and you click on a link, but that page doesn't perform well. Well, Google measures that. They check all the pages that they link out to. And if they aren't performing well and if they don't load quickly, then they get dropped as far as the rankings. So you want to make sure if you want to keep those rankings for your website and those keyword rankings that your page is performing well. So let's get into how to go ahead and check what your website performance is. So there are several tools, and the three most common that I use are Google PageSpeed Insights, HubSpot's Website Grader, and GTmetrix as far as being able to test how fast your page loads. So let's start off with Google's PageSpeed Insights. So I'm going to use my website, useractive.com, to see how that comes up as far as a performance report. So I'm going to go ahead and analyze that. And while that's going, because it takes a little bit of time, I'm going to get HubSpot going as well. And I'll get GTmetrix going as well. It takes somewhere between 30 seconds to a minute for this scan to run and for you to get your performance report. So let's give it a little bit of time. So as you can see here in Google's PageSpeed Insights, this is on the mobile tab. So it's important that you check for mobile and for desktop. So I'm going to do for desktop just today, and it's giving me a 98 as far as performance on a desktop. So everything looks good, everything is green, it looks like the page is coming up quickly, and it's giving me some suggestions or opportunities, and it's telling me to properly size images. This is probably one of the best things that you could do to improve your page speed performance. A lot of times when you get images from your designer or your designer creates images for your website, they don't take into account how big the file size is, because everything that's on a web page has to be pulled in from different files on the website. And that all has to be loaded and downloaded. And if you have these oversized images as far as file size, it's going to bloat your website and it's going to make it bigger than it has to be. So that's one of the quickest fixes, is to go ahead and optimize your images, make them as small as possible, but still high quality. And it's giving me these opportunities. It's still, you have to gauge it and see if it's worth doing, because right now it's telling me it's 0.72 seconds. I don't think that there's much I can do there. I can maybe trim 1/4 of a second at most, or maybe some file size, but that's one of the decisions that you have to make. Is it worth doing? And what's going to reap the most amount of rewards? So let's take a look at HubSpot's. HubSpot is giving me an 83, which is okay. And some of the issues that I'm seeing here are performance and security. So if I go into the performance section, it's telling me that there's room for improvement as far as page requests. And it's telling me the more HTTP requests your website makes, the slower it becomes. Try to reduce the number of files your site loads. And by files, they mean like JavaScript files, CSS files, image files. It has to call all these files for your page to render correctly. JavaScript for functionality or interactivity, CSS for the way your page looks or is styled. And the best way to do this is to go ahead and combine some of those into one file if you have many files, and also to minify some of these files. And by minifying, they mean usually when you have a website or you have code for a website like CSS, there are a bunch of spaces. And all this does by minifying is it compresses it so there are no spaces, and you save some amount of space as far as file size, but not a whole ton unless you have a lot of different files that you're loading in. So see, it's giving me that suggestion for minified CSS because I'm not using it. Sometimes it's good to use. It depends on, like I said, how many files you're using. And then let's go into the security. And the biggest issue here is going to be HTTPS. And I can tell you that probably the biggest issue there is going to be that maybe I'm not linking to some of these images using HTTPS, because when you call them, you call the image URL, and then you want to have HTTPS for all your calls so that every file that it's calling in, be it an image file, a JavaScript file, a CSS file, that data is being encrypted as it's being called and delivered to your browser and your computer, because that's what you really want to keep safe. Okay, so the next one that we want to go into is GTmetrix. So it's kind of giving me an error here. Let's try it again. See if this works. And you can see that the test server location is in Vancouver, Florida. I'm sorry, Vancouver, Canada. So that's not so close to where I'm at in Florida. So the closer this testing server is to where you actually are, where your ISP or internet service provider is, the faster you're going to be able to check that. So that doesn't appear to be working on my site for the moment. So I'm going to check out another website to see how that does, so we can take a look at the kind of metrics that they come up with on their report. So again, it's testing the server location from Vancouver, Canada. It's bringing up the page image here and generating a report. And it's giving this web page an A, 99% performance. So the summary is giving some suggestions here where you might be able to save, say 158K. And let's look at performance. First, contentful paint, 0.262 milliseconds, speed index 681 milliseconds. And if you hover over some of these question marks, it'll give you more of an explanation as to what this means and what a good benchmark is. See here it's saying that 0.9 seconds or less, so we're way below that. We're at 0.26. Speed index, everything green here, looking good. If I compare that to, say, and this Web Vital, if I compare what it says here on the Web Vitals, which is the largest contentful paint, that's the biggest part of the content and how long that takes to load. It takes less than a second. As long as you get the big things out of the way quickly, everything else should load up pretty fast. Let's compare that to Page Speed Insights. It's telling me my first contentful paint is 0.7. The largest contentful paint is 1 second. So let's compare that. There's a difference here. So why am I highlighting the difference between Google's and GTmetrix? Is that it's not an exact science. It's more or less an estimation, because again, you're using different servers. This is using Vancouver. Google might be using other servers in California or somewhere closer. You're testing, and this is the same thing when you're visiting a website, because that website might be visited might be hosted on a server somewhere in Denver. And there's different web hosts all over the place. So you're trying to access computers that are all over the world, and your load time is going to be different depending on what type of information you're loading, how much, and where that information is stored on a web server somewhere. So that's why it's important to use these 3 different services so that you could get a good gauge and kind of average things out. And what I suggest is to look at whatever's a red flag that they show. And as long as all 3 of them show, good performance numbers, depending on the location of the servers, then you should be good. So I hope that helped. I hope that you're able to now go out there and grade your website or take a look at some of the metrics using some of these websites. I'll put the links to those inside of the description. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos that can help you improve your website so you could generate more leads and more sales for your business. And if you need help with optimizing your website, improving your metrics, or revamping your website with better copy, better graphics, or a complete website refresh, please reach out to us at UserActive. That's what we do all the time. We're a website design and development company and an optimization company. We're all about making great websites that serve your customers and help your business grow. Thanks.